Have
I
you
don't think
noticed
the
your energy
spinach is
slipping,
fresh
your
enough. Look
ankles
at the
swelling by
leaves.
evening,
It's perfectly
your
fine,
heart
Mom.
fluttering
Just
for no
put it in
clear
the cart.
reason, and quietly told yourself it's just part of getting older? What if I told you those subtle changes might not be aging at all, but early warning signals from organs that filter 50 gallons of blood every single day and are now struggling to keep up? Because here's the reality. Most Americans never hear until it's too late. Kidney disease can progress silently for years. And by the time symptoms become obvious, nearly half of your kidney function may already be gone, bringing you one step closer to dialysis hospital visits and a life tied to machines instead of freedom. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and I need you to stay with me for the next few minutes because what you eat this week could either accelerate that decline or slow it dramatically. In this video, I'm going to show you the hidden foods that quietly overload weakened kidneys and the simple evidence-based swaps that can reduce inflammation, stabilize potassium, and help protect your filtration before the damage becomes irreversible. Because once you understand what's really happening inside your body, you won't just change your diet, you may change the entire trajectory of your health. Spinach looks innocent, green, clean, Instagram approved. But for weakened kidneys, it can quietly become a mineral overload machine. I once had a 68-year-old patient, Linda, who proudly told me she drank a spinach smoothie every morning because she read it was heart healthy. 3 months later, her potassium crept upward, her creatinine ticked higher, and she felt unexplained fatigue. What changed? Nothing except the daily spinach habit she believed was protecting her. Here's the science most people never hear. 1 cup of cooked spinach contains over 800 milligrams of potassium, and it's also rich in oxalates, compounds that combine with calcium and increase kidney stone risk. Healthy kidneys can adapt. Compromised kidneys cannot. When potassium accumulates in the bloodstream, a condition called hyperkalemia, it can disrupt the electrical rhythm of the heart. That flutter you ignore. It might not be anxiety, and cooking spinach makes it shrink dramatically, meaning you can consume 2 or 3 times more potassium than you realize in a single serving. It's not that spinach is bad, it's that dosage matters when filtration declines. If you've been adding spinach daily thinking it's a superfood, ask yourself, could it be silently working against you? But knowing this alone isn't enough because the next vegetable on this list is even more common in American kitchens, and its potassium load is even harder to detect. If spinach surprised you, potatoes might shock you even more, because this isn't a health food mistake, this is a comfort food trap. Baked, mashed, air-fried, or turned into fries potatoes are one of the most consumed vegetables in America. I remember a retired firefighter, James, who told me, "Doc, I don't eat junk, just meat and potatoes." What he didn't realize was that 1 medium baked potato can contain close to 900 milligrams of potassium, and for someone with declining kidney function, that can be nearly half the safe daily limit in a single sitting. Here's what makes it dangerous. Potassium is invisible. You don't taste it, you don't feel it building up. But when kidneys can't excrete it efficiently, it accumulates in the bloodstream and begins interfering with the electrical signals that control your heartbeat. That unexplained muscle weakness, that sudden fatigue, sometimes it's not aging, it's mineral overload. And the skin of the potato holds even more potassium than the flesh, meaning the healthier baked version may actually deliver a higher load. Now here's the balanced solution. You don't always have to eliminate potatoes, but portion control, peeling, soaking, and double boiling can significantly reduce potassium levels. Small strategic shifts can mean the difference between stable labs and steady decline. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the next food on this list isn't just high in potassium, it becomes dramatically more dangerous once it's cooked and concentrated. And most households use it daily without thinking twice. If potatoes are a hidden potassium bomb, tomato sauce is a slow-burning fuse. It's not the fresh tomato slice on your salad that worries me. It's the concentrated, simmered, reduced, thick red sauce that most Americans eat multiple times a week without thinking twice. Pasta night, pizza Friday, chili Sunday. I had a patient, Maria, who told me I don't eat vegetables much, just tomato sauce. What she didn't realize was that when tomatoes are cooked down, the water evaporates but the potassium stays. 1 cup of tomato sauce can deliver 2 to 3 times the potassium of a fresh tomato. And here's the problem. Weakened kidneys don't process potassium efficiently. That excess doesn't just disappear, it lingers in the bloodstream, quietly stressing the heart's electrical system and increasing the workload on already compromised nephrons. Add in the acid load from processed tomato products, and you create an environment that promotes inflammation and accelerates kidney decline over time. Now, this doesn't mean you can never enjoy tomatoes again. Portion control matters. Diluting sauce, choosing fresh over concentrated, even alternating with lower potassium bases like olive oil and garlic can dramatically reduce mineral exposure. Small shifts, big impact. But just knowing this still isn't enough because the next super green on our list looks even healthier than spinach, and its mineral density can overwhelm weakened kidneys faster than most people ever expect. If tomato sauce was a concentration trap, Swiss chard and beet greens are a density trap. These greens are often labeled superfoods packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. But here's the hard truth: when kidneys are weakened, too much nutrient density can become a liability. I once worked with a 72-year-old retired teacher, Carol, who replaced iceberg lettuce with sauté chard every night because she wanted to eat cleaner. Within months, her potassium levels crept higher, despite no obvious dietary mistakes. The science explains why. 1 cup of cooked Swiss chard can contain over 950 milligrams of potassium. Add in its high oxalate content, and you increase the risk of crystal formation within already stressed kidney tissue. And because these greens shrink dramatically when cooked, you may consume 2 or 3 cups worth without realizing it. That's how overload happens quietly, invisibly, repeatedly. Now, I'm not telling you to fear vegetables. I'm telling you that weakened kidneys cannot process mineral surges the way healthy ones can. The strategy isn't elimination, it's moderation, rotation, and awareness. Limiting frequency, reducing portion size, and avoiding daily repetition can dramatically reduce mineral stress. But just knowing this still isn't enough, because the next vegetable on our list doesn't look dense or super at all. It looks sweet, comforting, and harmless. And that's exactly why so many people underestimate its impact. If Swiss chard was a density trap pumpkin and winter squash are something even more deceptive, they feel comforting, seasonal, even anti-inflammatory. But for weakened kidneys, sweetness doesn't mean safety. I had a 70-year-old patient, Robert, who switched from potatoes to butternut squash after hearing it was healthier. His intentions were good. His labs told a different story. Within weeks, his potassium levels climbed again, and he couldn't understand why. Here's what most people miss. 1 cup of cooked butternut squash can contain over 580 milligrams of potassium. Add a generous serving of pumpkin soup or roasted squash at dinner, and you're easily pushing your daily potassium load higher than compromised kidneys can comfortably eliminate. The issue isn't one serving, it's repetition. Night after night, fall after fall, slow accumulation. And there's another layer. Winter squash is often blended into creamy soups, concentrating minerals the same way tomato sauce does. What feels like a light bowl can deliver a surprisingly heavy mineral burden. That lingering muscle cramp at night, that subtle swelling around the ankles. Sometimes it's not sodium, it's potassium buildup hiding behind healthy comfort food. The strategy here is smart rotation, smaller portions, alternating with lower potassium vegetables, awareness over assumption, because kidney protection isn't about fear, it's about precision. But just knowing this still isn't enough, because the next item on our list isn't about potassium at all. It's about something even more dangerous for long-term kidney survival: sodium hiding in plain sight. If potassium overload has been the silent theme so far, now we shift to something even more aggressive for long-term kidney decline: sodium. And the most underestimated source: canned vegetables. Not because vegetables are harmful, but because the liquid they sit in is a sodium bath your kidneys were never designed to handle daily. I once treated a 74-year-old veteran, Thomas, who proudly told me he had cut out junk food completely. No chips, no fast food. But every night he opened a can of green beans or corn, drained it, quickly heated it, and called it healthy. What he didn't realize was that 1 serving of canned vegetables can contain 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium, even the reduced sodium versions. That hidden salt increases blood pressure, and elevated blood pressure increases pressure inside the glomeruli, the tiny filtration units in your kidneys. Over time, that constant pressure accelerates nephron damage. It's like running a water filter at maximum force every single day. And here's the dangerous part: sodium doesn't just raise blood pressure, it causes fluid retention. That tightness in your shoes by evening, that puffiness in your fingers, It may not be aging, it may be salt. The solution isn't extreme. Choose fresh or frozen, rinse thoroughly, read labels. Replace brine-heavy cans with real produce whenever possible. Because once blood pressure climbs, kidney decline rarely moves backward. But just knowing about sodium isn't enough, because what you replace these vegetables with could either rescue your kidneys or push them closer to dialysis. After everything we've uncovered, potassium, overload, sodium traps, hidden mineral concentration, you might be wondering, so what do I eat instead? This is where strategy replaces fear. And cauliflower is one of the smartest substitutions you can make. It doesn't just remove risk, it actively reduces pressure on weakened kidneys. I had a patient, Michael, 69, who loved mashed potatoes but struggled with rising potassium levels. Instead of eliminating comfort foods entirely, we swapped half his potato serving with mashed cauliflower. Within 6 weeks, his potassium stabilized, his swelling reduced, and his energy improved. Why? Because 1 cup of cooked cauliflower contains significantly less potassium than potatoes while still delivering fiber and anti-inflammatory compounds that support vascular health. Here's the science: cauliflower contains glucosinolates and antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress, one of the driving forces behind kidney tissue damage. Lower oxidative stress means less inflammatory burden on nephrons, and unlike high-density greens, cauliflower doesn't create a mineral spike when cooked. It stays relatively light on the filtration system. The solution isn't deprivation, it's intelligent substitution. Roasted, steamed, mashed, even blended into soups. The key is replacing high-potassium staples with lower-load alternatives that keep flavor while reducing risk. But just knowing about cauliflower isn't enough, because flavor matters, and the next vegetable on this list proves you can boost taste, protect your kidneys, and reduce inflammation all at the same time. If cauliflower proves that substitution is possible, red bell peppers prove that kidney-friendly eating doesn't have to be bland. Because here's the mistake many people make. After hearing about potassium and sodium, they strip flavor out of their meals, then give up. But red bell peppers change that equation completely. I worked with a 71-year-old woman named Patricia who struggled with high blood pressure and early-stage CKD. Her biggest challenge wasn't sweets, it was salt. She salted everything. Instead of telling her to just stop, we replaced heavy seasoning with roasted red bell peppers, garlic, and herbs. Within 3 months, her blood pressure improved and her swelling noticeably decreased. Why? Because red bell peppers are naturally low in potassium compared to many other vegetables, yet incredibly rich in vitamin C and carotenoids, powerful antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress inside kidney tissue. Here's the deeper science: oxidative stress accelerates nephron damage. Antioxidants counteract that process. When you reduce sodium and increase antioxidant intake at the same time, you decrease vascular inflammation and protect the delicate filtration units that determine long-term kidney survival. And red bell peppers deliver flavor without triggering mineral spikes. Roasted, sliced raw into salads, blended into low-sodium sauces. They don't just replace salt, they replace risk. But even antioxidant support isn't the full picture, because the next vegetable on our list works quietly at the cellular level, and its protective effect goes deeper than most people realize. If red bell peppers protect through antioxidants, cabbage protects through consistency. It's not flashy, it's not trendy. You won't see it dominating social media as a superfood. But in clinical reality, cabbage is one of the most kidney-friendly vegetables available, and most people overlook it because it feels too simple. I had a patient, Eleanor, 73, whose kidney function had been slowly declining for years. She didn't need a miracle. She needed stability. We removed high-potassium greens and replaced them with lightly sautéed cabbage 3 to 4 times per week. 6 months later, her eGFR stopped dropping. It didn't skyrocket. It stabilized. And in kidney disease, stability is a win. Here's why cabbage works. It's naturally low in potassium compared to leafy greens, yet rich in phytochemicals and fiber. Those compounds help reduce oxidative stress and support gut health. And this is critical. When gut health improves, toxin load decreases, meaning fewer inflammatory byproducts reach the kidneys. Less inflammation means less long-term scarring of nephron tissue. Cabbage also adds bulk without mineral overload. It fills the plate, supports digestion, and doesn't spike potassium or sodium. That combination is rare. But even cellular protection and mineral control aren't the final piece of the puzzle, because the last item on this list doesn't just support kidneys, it can directly influence blood pressure, inflammation, and long-term disease progression in a way that surprises most people. If cabbage protects quietly, garlic and onions protect strategically, and this is where everything comes together. Because at the end of the day, kidney survival isn't just about potassium, it's about inflammation, blood pressure, and the daily habits that either speed up or slow down nephron loss. I had a 76-year-old patient, Harold, whose kidney function had been declining steadily for years. He didn't eat extreme foods. He didn't overdo potassium. His biggest issue, salt. Every meal relied on it. Instead of simply telling him to eat less sodium, we rebuilt flavor using crushed garlic, sautéed onions, herbs, and spices. Within months, his blood pressure improved significantly, and for the first time in years, his kidney numbers stabilized. Here's the science. Garlic contains allicin, a compound shown to support vascular function and reduce inflammatory markers. Onions provide sulfur compounds that improve endothelial health, the inner lining of blood vessels that directly affects kidney perfusion. When blood pressure drops and inflammation decreases, the microscopic filtration units inside your kidneys experience less mechanical stress. Over time, that reduction can slow disease progression in a measurable way. And this is the part most people underestimate. Replacing salt isn't a small change, it's a survival-level decision. Every teaspoon of sodium removed reduces fluid retention, lowers vascular strain, and protects fragile nephrons. But just knowing this still isn't enough, because the real question isn't what damages or protects your kidneys, it's whether you're ready to apply these shifts consistently before the damage becomes irreversible. Before we close, I want you to take a deep breath and really hear this. Your kidneys are not failing overnight. They respond to patterns, they respond to habits, and that means they can also respond to change. The small shifts we talked about today, reducing potassium overload, cutting hidden sodium, replacing high-risk vegetables with smarter alternatives, may seem simple, but repeated daily, they become powerful. You are not powerless in this process. You are not too late. Every meal is a vote for either decline or stability. If this video opened your eyes, don't just move on. Save it. You may need to re-watch it when you're planning your grocery list or cooking dinner. Share it with someone you love, because kidney disease often runs silently in families. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next evidence-based strategies I'll be sharing. My goal is to give you clear, practical medical guidance you can actually use without fear, without confusion, just facts that protect your health. And remember, this dialysis is not destiny. Lab numbers are not a life sentence. With awareness, consistency, and the right decisions repeated over time, you can slow progression, protect your filtration, and preserve your independence. Your kidneys are still working for you. Now it's time to work for them.